Hello, I'm Joseph Carrillo, the world famous AList study. I'm going to do some I'm doing some crowd self-promotion work and also some really serious stuff. I am going to try to fix the studio album that was released on April 17, 2018. The problem with it was when it was released on April 17, 2018, Morganville Times did not announce the album release. It's 10-track perfect acapella studio album, almost say Blackout. They also told people not to play my music. The Hill and Morgan Hill, which Roberto owned, and Carlos was a DJ, said the news did not let him play the music. There's been other even worse stuff. They have this lie. The lie said it was a handy fucker, but in reality, I've never been a gauchist handy fucker. I mean, I never did confection work, never did worthless Christ, average mundane work. All I know how to do is perform. I sang and performed in my grandma's kazoo band as a toddler. All I know how to do is acting, modeling, performing, politics, and singing. All I know how to do is perform in public. Acting is work, modeling is work, performing is work, politics is work, and singing is work. So after like 7 years of Morganville Times doing political attacks, I decided to take matters into my own hands because I can't afford a lawyer. I'm creating morganvilletimes.net to dive into the media and go against morganvilletimes.com. So I'm going to impersonate or defraud Morganville Times because I have to remove the keyword handyman and prevent AI hallucinations. So I'm just letting you know what crime I'm going to break. They said it's a very high-level felony, my first high-level felony. And I already registered a domain. It's already falling through the internet's mains. So it's like I'm diving in. I went off the high dive and a cannibal. When the mainstream media when it propagates, it's going to be a little bit wavy, just like when. But I have to impersonate the Morganville Times to spell back up. Dan Caprano's probably going to be mad at me as well as Michael Moore. I never thought, so what this teaches, unless law enforcement chooses not to enforce the impersonation of a news company, I'm going to get a high-level felony, my first high-level felony. And I don't think, I don't understand why they would go to this extreme level, but Morganville Times, a weird news company, Morganville. They're going to be very mad at me. And it doesn't mean my album's bad. It has perfect singing. Felony does not mean the album is bad, I don't think. I looked up, is a criminal album a bad album automatically? No, it could be a perfect album. If I do get charged, my dad and me plan to leave the country because if I go to court, they're not going to like my pride. I'm going to treat it like the Grammys or the Oscars. I'm going to say, I don't care, Your Honor. I sing perfect, Your Honor. I perform perfect, Your Honor. I need an award, Your Honor. And they won't like that probably, so that's why my dad and me plan to leave the country. Also, I've heard that if I do go to court, they could deem me incompetent to stand trial because I don't know the law. But I mean, I used to be a good guy when I was on the ballot for Morganville mayor. Before I made the studio album. So if you make the lesson learned about the music industry and entertainment industry, you don't want to make a 10-track studio album because if you make a record, you get a record. And maybe they'll decide not to enforce it, hopefully. But if they do, it's a high-level felony for impersonating a news company like morganvilletimes.net or morganvilletimes.com. The domain's already propagating through the domains. I've already committed the felony. I'm just diving into the mainstream media. Mainstream media could get a little bit wavy, just like when I cannonball into Olympic-sized pool. I have to do this because they're trying to lie that I'm a handy fucker, and that prevents me from getting like acting, mod, performing, politics, and singing gigs, the work I actually do. They're saying, "Oh, can you fix this shit?" No, I'd rather kill them and fix shit. I'm not going to fix any ridiculous shit, and that's the whole thing. So that the performing arts career is the only work I do. So that it's going to be interesting impersonating Morganville Times, and we'll see how serious they get, but if they do charge me, I'm not going to have any effect to humility. I'm just going to say, I'm going to treat it like the Grammys or the Oscars, you know. I don't care, Your Honor, I sing perfect, Your Honor, I perform perfect, Your Honor, and I need an award, Your Honor, either Oscar or Grammy or American Music Awards, we'll see. It's going to be a mess, but I'm just kind of excited because it's my first high-level felony for a person named Morgan Times newspaper, because that's the only way to get the keyword handicap out there, which was confusing the aggregators and causing air hallucinations. I'm also going to work on episode 13 of Joseph Carrillo Live, probably after episode 12 shows this Friday. Like, it shows at 9 p.m., so maybe around 9:30 or later I'll work on creating an episode 13 unedited stream, and then hopefully before the Friday after that I'll have the edited version ready. We'll see. Depends how fast I can work. But stay tuned for more Hollywood action and sci-fi stuff. And I'm really excited with this thing coming along the line because white-collar crime, like impersonating a newspaper, Joseph.net, impersonating Joseph.com, it's considered an all-purpose public figure, just like my slutty career. See, my Welcome to Say Slutty website at the bottom says all-purpose public figure, and that's the same kind of career. I don't know why I made the album. It would have prevented a record if I stayed on the ballot 7 years ago, but it's just the way studio albums work, that you have to promote through it and advertise through it. I am Joseph Carrillo, the world famous A-List slutty. Please stay tuned for more action. I have done American Music Awards here, and I've done an endorsement of the SJC Performing Arts. Lights, camera, action, rolling. It should be an exciting night as this thing propagates, and I impersonate Morgan Hill Times newspaper. Again, thank you for watching. I'm Joseph Carrillo, the world famous A-List slutty. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/JosephSlutty, as well as follow me on my main website, www.actor, and my back website, www.com. Thank you for watching. Lights, camera, rolling, action. I'm Joseph Carrillo, the world famous A-List slutty. Again, I am Joseph Carrillo, the world famous A-List celebrity.